Mitch Marner grew up dreaming about the Maple Leafs. Then, after a Toronto playoff loss, someone posted his home address online and his family needed security. That tells you pretty much everything about how weird the story gets. This countdown starts with the personal stuff, the habits, the marriage, the video games, the life he built away from the rink, and it leads straight to the moment the Toronto dream really cracked. This isn't a love letter and it's not a pile-on either, it's the full picture. Because when people argue about Marner, they usually stop at playoff stats and miss the part where real life barged through the front door hard. Number 10. He was a full-on Leafs kid before he ever became a Leafs star. Marner grew up in the Greater Toronto area, and he talked about waking up, putting on TSN, and watching the Leafs highlights over and over. He read the papers, followed the team non-stop, and knew exactly how intense that market was long before he played a shift in it. That part matters because this wasn't some hired gun showing up for a paycheck. This was the hometown kid who actually wanted the pressure.
You've been playing hockey?
For a long time.
What do you like about the hockey?
Being decent.
Which in Toronto is a bit like saying you'd enjoy living inside a blender, if the blender also screamed about plus minus. Number 9 is Stephanie LaChance, and if you only know Marner from angry playoff takes, this part probably gets missed. They knew each other as kids in elementary school, then reconnected later when she was in college and he was playing junior hockey with the London Knights. They started dating in 2015 and stayed together through the jump to the NHL, the contract noise, the playoff heat, all of it. They got engaged in 2021 and married in July 2023 at Peller Estates Winery in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario. By pretty much every public sign, she's been his steady person through the chaos, which matters a lot when your work life includes half the internet deciding your mood for you after every second round exit. Keep that in mind because number 8 pushes the family side even further. In May 2025, Mitch and Stephanie welcomed their son, Miles. The timing was wild because it happened during the playoffs, basically right in the middle of the circus. Marner talked about how family comes first, and he made it clear that if the baby had arrived earlier during the series, he would have left to be there. That's not a throwaway quote either.
You know, happy family means happy life, so that's something that we live by for sure. We do a lot of things together.
When you line up that with everything that happened right after Toronto's season ended, it helps explain why his career choices started looking less like hockey-only decisions and more like actual adult decisions. Funny how becoming a dad can make a loud market feel even louder. Now we get to one of the more unexpected ones, number 7. Marner is seriously into gaming, and not in the lazy athletes also own PlayStations kind of way. He became part of the ownership group for Overactive Media, the company behind teams like Toronto Ultra and Toronto Defiant. So this wasn't just him killing time after practice. He actually put money and interest into esports. Marner has said gaming helps him relax and keeps him connected with his buddies. And honestly, that tracks.
I'm dialed!
You get him?
Hockey players are creatures of habit, and for a guy in a market that never shuts up, logging on, talking trash with friends, and doing something that isn't hockey probably feels pretty useful.
Dude, someone's gotta clip that, I don't know.
Also, if you've ever heard sports radio after a Leafs loss, a headset lobby might be the more peaceful place. Number 6 is just kind of funny. Marner is picky with food, and he has openly admitted he hates vegetables. Not dislikes a few, hates vegetables. In a Sportsnet interview that came up while he was talking about going out to eat with teammates. And somehow it makes perfect sense. There's something very Mitch Marner about being an elite athlete with world-class edges and hands, while also sounding like a kid bargaining his way around broccoli at the dinner table. It's one of those small details that makes him feel less polished and
I only eat right wings. Right winger? Right wings.
more real. And honestly, hockey has always had room for weird food guys. It may be the most relatable thing he's ever done. That lighter stuff is fun, but it also sets up the split in this story. Halfway through, you can see the normal life he kept trying to build. Wife, kid, hobbies, food quirks, downtime. And next up is where that normal life starts running into money, spotlight, and the kind of pressure Toronto swears is just passion until somebody has to hire security. Number 5 is the money part, because with Marner, you can't really talk lifestyle without talking contracts. Toronto signed him in 2019 to a 6-year deal worth over $65 million. with a huge chunk of that coming in signing bonuses. And then when he landed in Vegas in 2025, he approved a sign and trade and signed an 8-year, $96 million contract.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we're just trying to find out living style now, living wise, where we're gonna try to, find our home and stay for, the 8 years.
So yes, the guy got paid like a star because he was one. But what's funny is he never really built that loud look-at-me celebrity image people love to pin on rich athletes. The story around Marner's money was always louder than Marner's actual lifestyle, which says a lot about Toronto, because the market can turn a contract number into a personality trait real fast. At number 4, his off-ice routine actually sounds pretty normal for a wealthy hockey guy from Ontario. He likes dinners out, and reports on his favorite spots in Toronto have included Harbor 60, Hemingway's, and Sato Sato. He's also talked about cottage time, summer weather, and getting out to golf.
Third shot. Are you in your third shot?
Yeah, third shot.
All right, looks like I need to nail it then.
So, you're not looking at some wild nightclub king or a guy trying to act like a movie star. He seems more like a steak, friends, and low-drama kind of person, which honestly makes what happened later feel even stranger. The image a lot of people built around Marner was this spoiled, soft villain, but the actual off-ice picture is way more boring, and I mean that as a compliment. Then number 3 reminds you that the safety issues did not begin with the address leak. In 2022, Marner and Stephanie went through a carjacking in the Etobicoke area in Toronto.
We begin with the latest on a brazen carjacking that took place in Toronto Monday night. Sources telling CTV News the carjacking involved Maple Leafs forward Mitch Marner.
They were unharmed, and police later arrested suspects, but still, that's not one of those things you just shrug off and forget by the weekend. When something like that hits your personal life, the way you think about home changes, the way you move changes, and the way your family feels about being recognized in public probably changes too. So by the time the Toronto chapter was closing, there was already some history there. That matters because the final break didn't happen in a vacuum. The stress had layers on it. 2 left, and number 2 is where the story flips. Vegas gave him exactly what Toronto couldn't anymore: room to breathe.
I'm at the very back there, and it was so cool to see you arrive, and you had just such a huge smile on your face. What were you feeling?
A lot of emotions, yeah. I mean, that was my really first time putting on that jersey, and I just remember kind of...
Marner called it a new peaceful way of life, and he talked about wanting that with Stephanie and their son, Miles. Less noise, more normal life, and still a real shot at winning. Then, he backed it up on the ice, which had to sting a little back in Ontario. In the 2026 playoffs, he scored that ridiculous between-the-legs breakaway goal, the kind of move that looks fake until you watch it 3 times.
Carlson, he springs a man, Mitch Marner, who's in, and he stuffs it home! Mitchell Marner!
That goal felt like a message without him needing to say one word. Same player, different setting, and suddenly the conversation shifts from what's wrong with Mitch Marner to maybe Toronto was the part that was exhausting everybody. And number 1 is the ugliest part of the whole list. After the Leafs lost that playoff series to Florida, Marner got a call from his father-in-law saying people were sending screenshots of someone posting his home address online.
Because my wife's father called me and goes, I just want to let you know we've got people sending us screenshots of a guy posting your address online, saying that if people want to come pay us a visit and say, their goodbyes in a quotation way, here's the address. And it was a little tough, obviously. I mean, we kind of dealt with it for the last 2 years in a way. I mean, the market's very passionate. They love the team. I mean, I know it. I was born and raised there. I've been a part of the Leafs Nation for a long time. But when your family safety comes into question, especially having a new son, I don't think it's acceptable. Having full-time security pretty much at your house for 2 weeks after the playoffs just to make sure no one's coming to the house. Also the safety-wise of trying to walk your dog and your child. So it was a little unfortunate, but yeah, it's, we all deal with this stuff. It's just, sometimes it happens.
Inviting people to come by and say their goodbyes in quotes. Marner later admitted his family's safety became a real concern, especially with a newborn at home. And he had full-time security at the house for weeks. Think about how insane that is. The hometown dream didn't end over hockey reasons alone. It ended because the line between fan anger and real-life threats got crossed. And once that happens, no jersey, no contract, no childhood loyalty is going to patch it up. If you remember one thing, let it be this. Marner didn't just leave a team, he left a place where hockey pressure spilled into family safety. Let me know which one surprised you the most, the marriage, the gaming ownership, or the Toronto fallout. If you liked this one, go watch the Connor Bedard video next, because that story gets weird off the ice too.